let's see. How do we call this? It's just, I guess, the facilities meetings? Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. This is our committee meetings, our monthly committee meetings, and the first meeting we're going to have today is going to be our Facilities and Safety Committee. This meeting was posted, all the meetings which follows Transformation Teaching Learning's next, and then our Finance Committee follows that immediately. So they were all posted as required by the Texas Open Meetings Act, excuse me. So the first thing on here is presentation of school safety grants and MUST-funded grant. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. We have public comments for agenda topics. Do we have any? We have no topics for public comment. Okay. The next thing is we're going to go into our Facilities and Safety Committee meeting first, and presentation of school safety grants and the MUST-funded grant. Mr. Tapia, please.
So thank you, Mr. Powers, members of the committee, Dr. Corton, and audience. The first item on the agenda is to talk about the MUST-funded project, which is the new amphitheater at Leamings Elementary. We're about 68% complete. We already have the slabs poured and the walls and roofs for the restroom and the stage areas and the storage area. I'll show you some pictures here in a minute. Emergency, the other one is a safety. The TA Safety Grant Funded Project is the Emergency Responders Communication and Enhancement System, which is the BDA, the bidirectional amplifiers for law enforcement, so that we can access any dead spots in our schools or to eliminate any dead spots in our schools. And we're about 35%, and that's based on the last invoice. Actually, we're more like 60, 65% on the wiring of all the schools. They're installing antennas, so we're just waiting for the equipment to come in so we can get that system going, probably out another couple of months. So that's all we have on the update on the MUST grant funded project and the TA Safety Grant funded project. And there's just some pictures of the stage that I told you about. The restroom in the bottom already has water fountains. It's got toilet fixtures, laboratory fixtures inside already being installed. And that door is the access to the school behind the stage. And they had to reroute the chiller lines, which are insulated with aluminum jackets around it, so that we could access the school through another part of the building, a new exit. And just some more pictures of the interior of the restrooms with the light fixtures, the finish work, the paint. And that's pretty much it on those two projects.
When is that supposed to be completed, the amphitheater? Estimated date, more or less?
March, late March, early April.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Move on to the TRE funded projects. The first one is the doors and windows improvements at 6 school locations. We're about 85% complete. The storm doors for Harlingen South came in over the break. They were installed and are up and running. I'll show you some pictures here in a minute. We have all the doors and windows at Sam Houston have been installed. We're just pending some painting work, and some cylinders on the doorknobs for the exterior doors are also being installed. On the south locker room, gym locker room HVAC upgrades, the units have come in, but so that we don't interrupt the instructional programs, we're going to wait till spring break to install those units. So we have to disconnect the ones that are there and load up new ones for the locker rooms. And the new marquees, we have a new marquee at Bowie and Lamar that have been installed, and they're over at Memorial, demolishing that one next. And the last one is a chiller line replacement at the administration annex. Like I said, we completed the second floor, and now they're down on the first floor in phase 3. There's 4 phases, and we're about 55% complete. Just show you the pictures at South. Those are the new doors that were installed.
Ooh,
These
nice.
are windstorm compliant. They have the impact resistant glass. And the good thing about this frame system is the older one was very thin, and they couldn't run wires to do an electric strike for the electronic lock system. And the card swipe, we couldn't install it. So this new system will allow us to do that. The bottom marquee, that's what it looks like. It's already been installed, and just got to upload the software and get the graphics going.
How many more campuses do we need to finish where we have them all done?
Well, here we got Bowie and Lamar, Bonham, We're doing one at Memorial, and then we got two at Cano Freshman Academy, one in the front, one in the back. They're pretty much not operating anymore. They're pretty old. And over at the high school, we're installing two on Marshall, one on 7th and one on 13th on Opposite. And then this phase will be completed. We have one final phase that we're about to bid out. That was part of this TRE. And we're doing the last ones, I don't remember the last group, but it's like 4 or 5 more, and that's, I can put that on the next report. But these are the ones we're working on right now.
All right, thank you.
The chiller line replacement, like I said, the upstairs is completed, phase 1 and 2. We're working on phase 3 right now, which is the pink area. Is that correct, Kimberly?
Yes, sir.
We finished that by middle of February, and then we'll move to the last part, which also includes the auditorium. There'll be the chiller lines. So we've made some good progress there. That's some of the lines. You can see the new lines being installed. You can see the old lines that were insulated in the white jackets, just extremely rusted. And so the new lines also have new isolation valves where we can close certain sections to work on certain ACs without shutting down the whole system. And the last item I have is final payment for the central plant upgrades at Harlingen High School, the contractor, Central Air and Heating. This project was for $591,570. We did a change order for $97,000 to redo some piping and some pump work. Brought the contract up to $689,453, and we've paid $654,980. So we have a balance of $34,472.65. This will be on next Tuesday's board agenda for board final approval, since the board is required for final payment approval. And that's pretty much it on my projects. Are there any questions?
Oscar, on that last one, did we come in on budget or a little bit over budget?
Which last one?
The one that you, the central plant upgrades at HHS?
The central plant was part of the ESSER-funded projects,
Okay.
and so we were under the original budgeted amount for the ESSER-funded projects, and we're just closing it out.
Great, thank you. Any comments?
Oscar, is the construction at HHS pretty much complete? They've been under, seems, never-ending construction for 2
Yes,
years.
all the general construction with EO Construction was finished. All the roofing work with American Contracting, the roofing and the doors and windows is complete. The only thing we're pending right now are the digital controls that we did for the air conditioning units, phase 1 and 2. Phase 1 is finished. We're just about halfway through phase 2. That'll be the last, and then
They'll be there for a while, yeah.
then we'll get the 2 new marquees here in a few months.
Yeah,
So the big work is done.
that's great. You know, a lot of work's been done there.
Yes.
last year or so.
I have just one question. On the doors and windows at at South, actually, at South, is it just the doors that were redone, or is it that whole window panel
It was the whole storefront, the
Okay.
whole, the doors and the frames.
and the frames? Thank you.
It really looks nice. Is that like shatterproof glass, I'm sure, or what?
It's just like all the other windows that we did, the 3M film. It's impact resistant, so if somebody shoots at it and makes a hole in it, just the hole will go through, but the glass won't shatter, so you can't go through
Right,
the wall of the window of the glass.
all right. Any other questions? Okay, so then we'll, does that conclude your presentation on TRE, correct?
That's correct.
All right, well, thank you, Oscar. Ida Ambriz, will you tell us the construction funds and project financial report?
Yes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Powers, members of the committee, Dr. Korchan, and audience. So as of January 31st, our construction projects, we have 2 funds. Our first line item there is Fund 485, which is our Ellen Musk Foundation. Originally encumbered was $1.2 million. We have paid year-to-date $710,653, leaving us with an open balance of $544,775.55 as of January 31st. For Fund 175, our TRE fund, originally encumbered was $6.8 million. We have paid year-to-date $4.2, which leaves us a remaining balance of $2.5 million. So grand total of $3.1 million still left in our open POs for construction projects for this year.
Any questions, anyone? All right, Oscar, thank you very much. I'm always amazed at all the projects we've got going, and, you know, we're always either on budget and lots of times under budget. So thank you for you and your staff, Lydia, for keeping Oscar on target too. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Powers.
Ida, thank you. Doing a great job. Thank you very much. All right, with that, we're going to move on into our next meeting, which is the Transformation Teaching and Learning Committee. And let me go ahead and get my, excuse me 1 second, my agenda back here.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, board members, Dr. Corton, senior team, and members of the audience. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Elvia Loera. I'm the head nurse with the Harlingen School District. I'm here to present on our medical emergency management, which is taking a proactive approach. Our objective is, Our objective is to prepare and equip schools for emergencies by ensuring all campuses have the necessary equipment, reduce response time and improve outcomes, increasing the chance of survival in the case of an incident, ensure effective communication and collaboration throughout CISD employees and first responders, outside entities like law enforcement, EMS. Our goal is to ensure schools are fully prepared to manage medical emergency, ultimately improving the health and safety outcomes of the entire community. This includes our students, our staff, and our visitors. To implement this initiative, we have developed a medical emergency response template, which is tailored for each campus, ensuring the core purpose remains consistent throughout the district. The medical emergency response plan, we also call it a MERP now, right? You get calls from principals as the MERP, Ms. Loera, and so it makes it really nice, and the principals have been excited. They've been on board with everything, have done a wonderful job about uploading their medical emergency response plans as well. So the MERP will be updated every school year to modify to changes in staffing. So if in the beginning of the year, our clerical staff or our principals change, our administration changes, then our plan will be updated with their roles. With this, it will be required for them to conduct a mock drill yearly. They can conduct more drills throughout the year if they like, and that would be at the campus administration discretion, especially like if there's changes again, right? Making sure that everyone knows their role. The first mock drill was conducted at Bowie Elementary, and that was a huge success. From the moment the emergency response was called to the moment the first shock was given with the AED was 1 minute and 23 seconds, which is great because we want it to be under 3 minutes. Wow. The quicker the response is given, the more chance of survival for the individual. We do have upcoming CPR classes that we will be providing to certify more individuals in the district. This will allow campuses to register more individuals to get CPR certified. Campuses are eligible to apply for a recognition to be a heart-safe school if they meet all criteria. And this criteria includes having 5 to 10 or 10% of the staff CPR certified individuals on the campus. It also includes having an AED readily available within a 3-minute walk to and from the victim. So getting to the victim, back to the AED, and back to the individual, right? It has to be under 3 minutes. That way we can hurry up, we can quickly respond and provide the shock to an individual if there is a cardiac arrest. So I would like to thank Ms. Coffey and Ms. Reyes. They have spearheaded the rapid response protocol, which HAEF did grant us a $5,000 grant for. We were really excited to move forward with that, to be able to make a couple of our campuses a heart-safe school. We would like to make our whole district, that's our goal, is making our district a heart-safe district. So when we look at who's involved in the MERP team, campus nurses will collaborate with other schools, personnel that are assigned by our administration. They will designate who will be to clearly define the roles of the emergency, their roles in the emergency. This includes who will be calling 911, who will initiate the emergency, who who will make the notifications to parents or family members. So the notification, that is uniform across the district. Our principal or assistant principal will be making that call to parents. If an incident were to happen, we want that to come from our administrators. Emergency crisis team, who's going to ensure that the team responded. The individual that's going to get the AED. We do ask also throughout the district that the individual that's going to get the AED to assist the nurse or whoever is performing CPR, if that's the case, that they also be CPR certified. And then, of course, getting our student information, what their emergency alerts are, crowd control. At the moment that a medical emergency is called, what will happen is we'll put the school on a hold, everything resumes inside the classroom, and that minimizes any traffic in the hallways so that EMS or law enforcement can get to the incident. And then, of course, directing EMS to the location, and our observer or timekeeper. Our timekeeper is also going to play a very important role because our timekeeper is going to be able to let EMS know this is the time a shock was given, or this is the time a tourniquet was put on. So that's going to be really important as well. In HCISD, all our health services staff is CPR certified. Additionally, we have over 200 employees that have been certified within the last 2 years. And this includes individuals throughout the district on campuses, central administration, district operations. Thank you, Mr. Tapia, for sending your employees over. Warehouse, child nutrition. So we've tried to certify individuals throughout the whole district in every department. Certifications are renewed every 2 years. And so we're working now on recertifying the ones that will be expiring here soon. So HCISD nurses are commended on their role as a healthcare professional on the campus. They lead this initiative, and as they take the lead on this initiative, we are reminded of the heart that they put out on what they do, right? So with that being said, we will be providing you an ice pack today from your school nurse. Let me get that for you, and then I will open up for questions and
For my knee.
Thank you. Thank you.
This morning I was hurting.
Yeah, you were hurting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, a little heart, cute.
Making a mess in your spot. No, you're good.
Can you read it?
Put this in the freezer?
It's not a gummy.
So we put this in the freezer, right?
Yes, you will put that in the freezer, and I believe this one also can provide heat. So here, we do not use microwaves to provide heat, but we do put them in our freezers to
So
apply
are
on our
these
students.
microwavable, or?
Yes, sir, I believe they are. They have the instructions on the back. These packets, I believe, are. I didn't read on the heart one, but our Suns are. We have some little Suns that we have at our campuses as well.
It is.
They're
Yeah.
both? Okay, yes. Thank you.
Not a long time, where it'll
I'm thinking about using this to keep other things
10
cold.
seconds over. 10 seconds.
10 seconds, yeah, not too hot. We are not responsible
No,
for
exactly.
burns. That's why we do not do it here in the district. So, any questions?
I'll open it up for you.
Okay, quick question. So you mentioned becoming heart safe for the whole school district. So what do we need to do to accomplish that?
So to be able to be a heart-safe campus, first of all, we have to make sure, the district-wide, it would be every campus is already meets the criteria. So our criteria includes having the AED within that walk, making sure that we have the number of individuals required to be a heart-safe school. And the reason for it is because we want to make sure that we can respond under those 3 minutes, right? Provide that shock, get them done, get them out to the hospital, and get them cared for immediately, right? And then the other things, which we've met a couple of them already, we've already been, is that the AED box be 4 feet from the ground so that anybody can access it. Our drills to be conducted once a year, making sure that we have this plan in place. So this is one of the steps that we've already, as of January 31st, all but 2, I believe, campuses right now have already their plan in place. We do have a shared file that everybody can see the plan of every campus. Our next step forward is having a plan for every building, right? Just the way we have, I use district operations as an example. They already have an AED as of last year, I believe. We installed an AED there. Some of their staff has become CPR certified. So now they've already got that criteria. Now it's just making sure that they have a plan in place as to who will be responding in these emergencies. And then also central administration, our annex building, putting a plan in place. Am I missing, what are other criteria? And then, so it is a project come from Project Adam, which was an initiative that was put forward because a student did lose his life because there was not an AED available, readily available.
Awesome. Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
any other question? Did
Mr.
that answer your
Leal?
question? I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Leal, you have something?
Yes, please. Well, thank you for the presentation. And you had mentioned that we received funding from the Area Education Foundation, Harlingen, the HAFE Board. Did they?
Yes.
So they want to thank that board once again for the funding that they provide to
Absolutely.
get the machines out. Do we have one of these AEDs on every campus now?
Yes, sir. We have
Okay.
one at every campus. If it's a UIL campus, they also have one in the gym. As of a couple years ago, we did start providing one in every gym in the elementaries because prior to a couple years ago, we didn't have one in the gyms. There was only one in the front of the school. So what we did was we started from the largest campus, working our way down. And of course, the ones that applied for the Heart Safe School grant, that campus, those two campuses also got an AED in their gym. So as of right now, I believe we're down to 8 schools needing an AED in the gym, and we're working on it.
Getting there, yeah. Has there been a medical emergency on any campus since we've had a plan? Or how old is this plan?
Great question. Thank you for asking, because this plan just started. We've always been able to respond to an emergency. In years prior, what we would do is they call the nurse, we have an emergency, the nurse would go, but there was no designated role as to who was going to make the calls. It was just, you play it by ear, right? Then we need somebody to call 911, or we need to, and it was not a designated role. Now with these designated roles, it'll give for a prompt response. And so then when we put these in place, January 31st was when everybody had to submit it to have it. And we actually did. We had the mock drill at Bowie, which made it very real because our mannequin even had a shirt. They had to cut off the shirt. And then we also had an actual incident at Jefferson Elementary with a bleeding. They didn't have to call, they didn't have to use an AED, but they were able to respond to a laceration and call EMS. And so they're using that as their drill for the
Put
year.
it into practice, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
that was a great practice. And so we did have an incident at, I believe, at Coakley Middle School last year where EMS was called, the AED was opened, but didn't have to be used. The student came back from, woke up and they
Yeah.
didn't end up having to use the AED.
Wow.
So,
Well, thank you again for the presentation and for everything that our school nurses are doing every day. Appreciate it.
thank you.
Dr. Rodiger?
Just one question. Thank you so much for this presentation and going through this with us. With the designated roles, is there like the front person, like a person, and then if that person's off campus or whatever, there's a backup? Like, are there multiple layers of this?
Yes, ma'am. So when somebody is absent, they have to have somebody else, and that was discussed with the principals and informed and said, okay, if this individual is not here, then who's going to take over that role? So somebody else is already designated to who will take over when someone's not available. Yes, ma'am.
Thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Dr. Pettis? No, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna, sorry I missed the beginning part of the presentation, but I wanted to know if you covered, as far as wherever you have AEDs, to just make sure folks know how to use them, because that could be life-saving, it's especially for staff, right? This is not gonna be a child usually that has an issue that requires an AED. Be very, very, very exceedingly rare for that to occur. but it's usually going to be a staff member, right? Somebody in their 50s or 60s that has a cardiac event or something like that. So I'm thinking, this is going to be life-saving, but, I don't know that once a year training is, and they're very simple to use, but I just wanted to know how often they could sort of educate, because if the nurse isn't there, or, we need to know other people that just know how to take it out of the box and put the thing in. It'll tell you when to shock or not kind of shock, but that can be, and obviously you're calling 911 at the same time, but this could be life-saving, and I just wanted to know that if maybe, a few more times a year, they can at least go through that, because it takes like just a few minutes to go through the basics of how to use an AED, and it could be life-saving. And I
Yes, sir.
wondered if you had it like out at like district transportation and things like that, where we have a lot of older men and things like that where it might, God forbid, end up being where it's needed, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Do we have one out there?
Yes, sir. So last year, we put one at District Operations, at our Child Nutrition Warehouse, at our Transition Academy. We put one out there. And then we also, what was the other area? Warehouse, which is the Central Receiving, we put one out there as well. So we do have one pretty much on right now, the only place, as of last week, we put one now at our clothing closet. So they received one because they'll be having transition students Transition Academy students helping there. So we now have one there. And of course, they have their events, right, that they host there. We wanted to make sure that we had something available in case of an emergency, because our closest one would be Bonham from there.
Sure.
So. And then we do have CPR certified individuals. I just sent out to principals today more classes that will be on the 18th and 19th. We'll have more CPR certification classes. We have, over the last 2 years, we've certified over 200 individuals throughout the district. And then our drills are also going to serve as a great reminder to the individuals that are CPR, right, on how to use it, because we run through the whole thing. We throw a mannequin out there. They have to bring the AED. They have to leave the box open from the AED so that the alarm is going off. We run through it as if it was a real deal.
Sure.
So we will continue. I would like to continue certifying more and more individuals throughout the school year.
Yeah, because I know like at airports and stuff, they train a lot of different people on just how to use that. Whether or not they know how to do CPR or not, that's a separate topic. They just train as many people as they can on just the basics of just using. You have a machine there. It's easy to learn how to use that. You don't need to be CPR certified. So I'm just it's another opportunity to train
Yes.
more people on just that device that could be life-saving.
Yes, sir.
So-
And also with our HAFE program, one of the requirements, right, for the grant was that we're starting to make the videos to inform our students on where AEDs are located on
Love
the
it.
campus.
Awesome.
We're making sure that they know that what it's for. It's not necessarily for a student to use it, but if an adult needs help, they know where it's located on their campuses. And these videos will be going out by this semester, and making sure that our students know where they're located on their campuses.
Great
And
job.
that'll be from 3rd up, correct? From 3rd grade up.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the questions, great questions.
Do you, or your office, are you all the ones that train the people on the different campuses, or do you have other people come in from the outside for like CPR and the AED?
Our nurses, we have 8 certified instructors in our department.
So we do it
And-
in-house?
Yes, and then also additionally, athletics department also, aside from these 200, then athletics also trains individuals. Our coaches, anyone with UIL or around UIL students, then they also do trainings for CPR certifications.
Do we have a policy that on each campus, besides your nursing staff, there are like an assistant principal or certain people that are designated required to be certified in this area?
No, sir. I know coaches are. There is a state requirement where coaches need to be certified, and our nurses.
Okay. All right, thank you. Very, very informative. I'm glad that you all have implemented this program, and it's nice to know that we have these procedures in place, and particularly when an occurrence occurs and you can clear the halls and get, the notifications out and people to the right place at the right time. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have one more thing to add that I forgot to put on here, but going back to our CPR and AED, use. We have, last week, we did start now our Spanish class. So to be able to serve our Spanish dominant employees that prefer to, have the class in Spanish, we are also providing that as well.
Great
So
idea.
thank you so much. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you.
Thank you for the
Thank you.
presentation. Thank you.
You want me to take over?
All right, so,
You want me to just
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so just, thank you, and I apologize for being late. We'll adjourn that committee meeting and jump right into our Finance and Planning Committee meeting. Ida, you want to head it?
Nolan, future topic.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, future topic. I apologize.
No problem. Thank you to our entire nursing staff. Yes, they have done a lot of training, and it seems like every time we turn around, there's another group that needs to be trained, and they do it with a smile. So thank you to Mrs. Luetta and all of our nursing staff. Next month, we are going to have Jennifer Maldonado come back. She's been working this year along with our principal residents to get a little glimpse of what teacher retention can look like from the lens of our Teachers of the Year. And so they'll be coming next month to just talk to us a little bit about what they discovered and what some of their proposals are.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, well, we'll jump right into the Finance and Planning Committee now. Ida, you want to give us our update on fiscal planning?
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Pettis. Okay, so today's topics, we're going to be taking a look at a little update at our monthly levers. We're going to also present an update on our budget planning for fiscal year 25-26. And then we're going to also give an update on the federal pause that came out last week. So influencing factors of fiscal planning. We want to give an update on our current enrollment as of January 31st. Our current enrollment is 16,441 students. It's still currently 339 students less from prior year, still resulting in the approximate $2.1 million in current loss of revenue. We've maintained this enrollment here from last month to this month, so we're doing okay as far as our enrollment. No major decreases there. Attendance, 24-25 revenue projections were based on a 93% attendance rate. Our current attendance rate as of January 31st was 93.64%. The district will be sending in a waiver to TEA for the winter day that was held on January 22nd. That should also help our ADA. Our goal for this year is 94.5%. So compare that to the 93.64% that we have currently. I think we're on the right track, so it's positive. And then on property values, last Friday, our state comptroller released preliminary property values given to us at a local value of a little over $5 billion. And this is really good news because for the last 2 years, the state has been providing these assessed values at a state value rather than local. And so state values are assessed a little bit higher, but typically that results in a decrease in state funding. And so local value then, even though it's a little less than our state values, there's no decrease in state funding. So we're really pleased about that. That's really good news and wanted to bring that celebration to you today.
Ida, could you
Yes, sir.
unpack that a little bit more? So that 5 billion, 5 million, whatever it is, can you give us an
Yes.
idea what percent increase that is?
So it was a little increase of about $110 million from last year to
Okay.
this year. Let's, given that it is preliminary, it might change, right, as we get closer to a final number on that. But the really good part about this, a little over $5 billion property value, is that it was given to us from the state at a local value, right?
Right.
So local versus state value, local value is what we're hoping for because that does not decrease our state funding at all.
That's right.
Yeah, so we're really pleased about that.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
But it's also an increase, so it's a double whammy there. It's an increase plus it's also.
Yes, exactly. So everything's looking really good there, very positive news.
Dr. Running?
Just real quickly, the variance between state and local, that it's a celebration, is it what? what's
Yes,
the-
so the difference there, and something to remind everyone is, the state value, even though it may have given us maybe a little bit higher of a property valuation, it also decreases our state funding. So for the last 2 years, that's what we were given. We were given state values. And so this year, the state has given to us a local value of a little over $5 billion. And so that then equates to no effect in our state funding. So we're going to continue our state funding, and then we have a little bit more in our property values.
So one follow-up, then the difference is by student, so $5 per student less if it's state versus local, or what? I guess I'm trying to get a sense of what is
So
that.
this reflects on our property tax revenue. And so it's the valuations, and then multiply that by the taxpayer's taxpayer rate, and then that generates that property tax revenue. So not really a per dollar amount for our students, but more of additional property tax revenue that the district is going to be able to incur with this valuation.
Meaning like a $5 per 100, or,
Yes.
I mean, it's got to be some,
Yes, I'm sure there is. I don't have that number
Okay,
with me, but I
okay,
can
got it.
definitely bring that to the board for review next week.
it just, for us to understand, I hear you and absolutely, hear the celebration in this. I'm just wondering,
You want $1 per
like,
student?
what's the
Yeah.
amount?
Sure, I can definitely bring that to the
How
table
much-
next week.
How much should we celebrate?
Yes.
Quick question.
Yes, please, Ricky.
A quick question, Ida. Going back to attendance, we're talking about submitting a waiver for that winter day.
Yes, sir.
So I know at my son's school, they've just been nailed by flu and cold, and attendance has been down.
Yes,
It's good
yes.
that our nurses are here, maybe they can help me with this. But at what trigger would we consider how low does it go before to request a waiver to the state? And have we considered that for
So,
just when everybody's
so
sick?
for January 22nd, I mean, I remember seeing that rate, and it was, I want to say it was around 40%. It was
Okay.
a really low number. And I think Dr. Creton probably has more information on how we deal with waivers and kids calling in sick, because we are experiencing that currently right now, that our ADA rate's a little bit low.
Anytime we have a variance, so if we were wanting to submit a waiver for today, we would go back and look at last year's attendance rate, and we have to have a variance of at least 10% in the overall attendance for that day, and that's what triggers the waiver.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
Yes, sure.
Let's keep an eye on that.
Yes, definitely. Any other questions? Very good questions. Okay, so up next, I do want to present a budget season update. We are definitely on track on our budget schedule. Last month, we did hold our first budget workshop with our departments and campuses on January 15th. We're currently at the stage where we are collecting the feedback. And so campuses and departments are working on their budgets, they're working on their budget workbooks, they're doing the deep dive into their expenditure accounts. And next week, we'll be conducting our second and final workshop with our campuses and departments at HLC on February the 12th. After that workshop, then we should be on track for all of our departments and campuses to submit their budgets to us, to the business office, by March the 7th. And so in March, that is when we kick off our board workshops for budget. And so that will be held at our next March Finance and Planning meeting. And then we'll host another budget workshop in April and May, with a goal in May to be able to hopefully approve the compensation piece of our budget. And then that should lead us right into early June to be able to propose a budget for you to approve. So on track, and so we're happy about the progress that we have made here with our budget. We definitely did get a lot of good feedback at our first budget workshop. It was held a little differently than we've had before in the past. Everyone was in our rooms 502, 503, and they were able to network amongst themselves, principals, department heads. We gave them an exercise for them to be able to take a look at their enrollment numbers and their ADA from previous year, to compare that to currently what they have currently at their campus. And so that was a good exercise for our principals to go through and get that information on how to do that deep dive into their budgets.
Ida, will your staff be meeting with each campus to go over their budget to see if it can be refined?
Yes, we did offer that at our budget workshop, and we'll offer that again at our second budget workshop next week, where we are inviting campus principals, department heads to come in, schedule an appointment with us, and we can go over that budget in detail with them before they submit. So yes, we do have that invite, and we had several that have already taken us up on that offer.
Will you also go back, if you see one that you want to work with, you think you need to work with them, you'll go into their?
Yes, absolutely. So our newer principals and new directors, that maybe this might be their first budget season, we're definitely going to send out an invite and have them come in just to kind of review their budgets and see if they have any questions, because I anticipate they're the ones that are going to have the most questions.
All right, great, thank you.
Sure.
I'm going to interject if I can for just a second, because we yesterday started working with our central office directors. And so it's getting closer to the middle part of the spring here. So we're looking at any monies that are in those accounts. We want to have a fiscal plan for how we're going to expend those monies, just so that we can be responsible with that. The other thing I want to mention is that this week, Mrs. Scoggin has started to work on staffing with our campuses, and so she'll be doing that with campuses and departments, and those two processes kind of work parallel to one another, right?
Another question, when you do this, when you go around the district, do you kind of inform them maybe as to what happened in prior years? Because sometimes I would think that could be very informative for them to say, this is maybe how much you overspent last year's budget, and so they can start knowing where those, what were the issues that led to that, and so that they can start from a point of learning from the previous year or two or something like that.
Yes, definitely. So one of the exercises that we provide to them and that we ask them to do is to run their detailed expenditure status report. On that detailed expenditure status report, that last column gives them what that variance is, right? But the budget to actual and what they still have remaining. And so that column, if they have any negative balances, right, we want them to take a deeper dive into that account to find out why. And so there's another report in our system that they can generate, which is an expenditure audit trail. And that expenditure audit trail will provide all of the details on that one account, right? Whether or not there were transfers going into that account, transfers coming out of that account to other accounts, what type of vendors were being paid, were there any journal entries that were posted to that account that possibly made that account negative. And so running that report and having them look at that detail will help them give them that answer as to, well, what happened to that account? Why did I go negative? And then vice versa. If you have an account that has a significant amount of money still left in that account, well, why do you have so much money in that account? Perhaps you over budgeted for that account, and you should have actually transferred some of that funding into that other account that was negative.
Right. Thank you.
Any other questions on the budget before I move on? Okay. So the last piece here is just an update on our federal funding. And so as most of you heard last week on January 27th, there was an OMB memo that was sent out issuing a federal pause, right, affecting all of our grants, loans, and other financial assistance programs. And then fortunately, that memo was rescinded. And so currently, I just want to let everyone know, board members, that there is no change to our federal funding right now. Everything's still good. We're still able to obtain that federal funding that we need for our campuses and for our district. However, the district is diligently monitoring any changes that might come down the pipeline in the future. We did attend a workshop last week on Thursday, I believe, at Region 1, and there was an attorney there from the Brewman Group. And so basically, she advised everyone there in attendance that although the federal pause is on, right, that's still on the agenda as far as, a possible change to that federal funding. And so we'll be monitoring that here diligently. Internally within our district, we decided that we wanted to, make that communication with our departments and campuses. If they have any purchases that are making with federal funds, that they submit those receiving reports to us as soon as they have those items into their offices or their campuses, so that we can make payment and that we can quickly turn around and ask for reimbursement from the government. So normally, we're always current with our drawdowns from the federal government. We normally do them on a monthly basis, but just to be on the precaution side, right, on the safe side, we're going to go ahead and start drawing down every 2 weeks.
And that's our discretion? or?
That is at our discretion, yes.
Okay. So my question has to do with, I mean, so right now, our district, if we look at our total overall budget, what percent is federal? Is it like 10, 11%? What is that number? Do you have any idea?
So I did take a look. Last year, we had $59.5 million in federal expenditures. Currently, we have budgeted about $50 million in federal expenditures.
So it's a lot higher than that. So it's probably, gosh, 20-some
Yes,
percent.
yes.
Okay, I think obviously because of the area we live in and our socioeconomic status and I mean, all that kind of those different type of things. So that's a big percent.
It
And
is.
how much of that, let's say I'm just going to guess it's like 18, 20%, whatever it is.
Mhm.
How much of that, it's probably higher than that, actually. How much of that is hard money versus soft money? In other words, is it all, I mean, how much of that is grants, like the softer money that comes in versus just fixed federal funding, for?
So we have both formula and discretionary grants, those that are at a competitive level. And so both of them are in that $50 million budget. And unfortunately, both of those were on the agenda.
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah, and the other question I had is, I wonder though if we're going to see a difference. Hopefully you don't, but just in responsiveness to your emails and your calls and things like that, because it's anybody's guess. You can at every hour something's changing in the Beltway.
Right.
And so as far as staffing and that kind of stuff and their responsiveness to just questions and things like that. So hopefully. There's a little bit more stability going forward, but there's a lot of uncertainty, obviously. And
Yes. I mean, that's definitely our hope that this will just remain on pause. But at the same time, just to be, just to safeguard it, we want to make sure that we are drawing down on a more consistent basis, so every 2 weeks. And so we're going to be sending out, open purchase order reports to our campuses and departments more frequently. So if we have anything there that's federally funded, we want to make sure that we are getting those receiving reports in a timely manner.
that seems very prudent. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Any questions for Ida?
Is there any updates from the state legislature on when they might release some money or what?
So I do know that there was a temporary restraining order filed yesterday. We got that correspondence from our Department of Justice because we do have $1 million grant with them. And so that is just continuing the pause, but we don't have anything else coming down the pipeline. I mean, that's all we know, that is everything is on hold. There is no change to our federal funding, and we just want to make sure we communicate that.
He's asking about state
That's
funding.
state
Oh,
funding.
state
Our
funding.
state
Oh, I'm sorry.
legislature, yes.
Oh, no. The state legislature, well, they're still, I listened to Governor Abbott on Sunday, and so he's, still promising that we might be able to get that funding for our teachers to give them the pay increases that they so deserve. But the vouchers are also still on that same bill, and so he is still advocating for private choice and for the vouchers. But there's no concrete numbers or communications being sent down from the state yet. We do have another Zoom call tomorrow to listen in and see if there's any other updates to our state legislature.
Thank you.
Dr. Muniz?
Mr. President, thank you. I just want to really just say thank you, Ms. Humphries. You've been doing a fantastic job, stepping up. Thank you for doing everything. Your clarity is amazing. Your presentation is amazing. You're answering a lot of questions. I just want to take a quick second to just say thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Dr. Bettis.
Yes,
A quick
Mr.
question
Vidal.
for Dr. Cortan. So on the topic of federal funding, the role that the federal government plays in education, is specifically for HCISD, where there's a lot of chatter about doing away with DOE. Just as a future topic, I'd be interested in just learning more about the role the federal DOE plays and how it impacts HCISD for months to come or whenever we have some time.
Absolutely.
'Cause I don't think that topic's going to go away over the next 4 years.
I don't either, and when we got the notification, I think it was early in the morning, we got a notification that one of our grants is going to be put on pause, right, because of the federal funding. And immediately, my thought went to personnel and how much personnel do we fund through those title funds and through the federal funding. And so we pulled that report, And when Ida says that we're looking at those things and looking into the future, I mean, it's something that we absolutely have to be aware of. And this topic we can bring forward.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that would be very prudent to do. Any other questions for Ida or Dr. Catan? And you want to discuss future meetings, or are we going to continue this regular cadence of these, or anything else to discuss with regards to future
Sure.
meetings?
We are actually headed into a real busy season with finance and planning because we're going to start doing all of our budgeting, our budget planning for next year. So as we get to next month, we're going to start our budget workshops, things like doing deep dives into some of our biggest areas of expenditures are going to be important. You also probably saw on the slide there that Ida indicated that our goal is to have an adoption of the compensation plan in May, which means that compensation and those related topics are also going to have to come to the forefront here.
Awesome. Anybody else? That's it? All right, well, this meeting, again, great job, Ida.
Thank you.
Appreciate you and your transparency and all the information you give us. It's been awesome, so thank you so much. And I guess we'll adjourn the meeting at this time. Thank you so much.
Let's take a short recess. I think Eladio will be here in about 10 minutes.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good.
Go ahead and do a short recess for about 10 minutes, and then we'll start our special board meeting. Thank you.
I sent y'all. It's made us ubiquitously connected to everything, even COVID. It's made everybody more
All right,
Yes.
we are back, and we are going to go ahead and call our special meeting to order. Let the record reflect that this meeting, the special board meeting, was posted as required by the Texas Open Meetings Act. We do have a quorum tonight, and if everybody will stand, I will deliver the Pledge of Allegiance.
The robots are coming to be your best friend.
Oh, sorry.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Ms. Denise, do we have any public comments on it for agenda topics? All right. With that being said, then we'll go into item number 3. We're going to adjourn to closed or executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, and 551.082 of the Open Meetings Act for the following purposes: review, consider, and hold interviews of applicants for superintendent position pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074. And number B, consultation with legal counsel regarding legal issues related to employment of new superintendent pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071 and 551.129. At this time, we are adjourned into executive session. oh. Wait a minute. All right, we are back in regular session, and we are going to take up our items that we took up in executive session. So the first item is 4A, consider and take possible action regarding applicants for superintendent position.
Mr. Powers, I would like to move that we proceed as discussed in executive session regarding applicants for the superintendent's position.
All right, I have a motion by Dr. Reiniger. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Dr. Monreal. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. All right, that will proceed into item number B. Consider and take possible action to name finalists for the superintendent position.
Mr. President, I move that the board name Dr. Veronica Corton as finalists for the position of Superintendent of Schools for Harlingen CISD.
Second?
All right, second, I have a motion by Dr. Pettis, seconded by Mr. Hymas. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, the motion carries. So I want to, unfortunately, tonight, two of our members got called away, and Ricky Leal left a message that he'd like for me to read to the audience. He said, "I was sorry to miss tonight's agenda item." He was here for a lot of it, though. "Sorry to miss the last agenda item. My daughter is a senior at Harlingen South and a proud member of the district champion Lady Hawks. Their last district game is tonight, and I'm headed to Donna to support the Lady Hawks." So we can totally understand, so. And then, let's see, I also received a text message from Dr. Muniz, who was here most of the night too, but he had to leave. He said, let me find that, excuse me one second. "Due to prior commitments, I am unable to be present for the selection of our next superintendent. However, I want to express my full and unwavering support for Dr. Corton. Her leadership, dedication, and deep understanding of HCISD's mission makes her the right choice to guide our district forward. I am confident that under her leadership, we will continue to prioritize student success, teacher excellence, and community engagement. I appreciate the hard work of my fellow board members during this important process and look forward to supporting Dr. Corton as she leads HCISD. All right, thank you.
Nice.
All right. So, I would also like to make a few comments. And I speak on behalf of the Board of Trustees, and that we want to express our utmost confidence in Dr. Corton. Dr. Corton has led this district and unified our employees during difficult transitionary times. She has acted as our interim superintendent on 2 different occasions when we asked her to step up. In addition, she has a wealth of experience with 25 years in public education. She has come through the ranks of public schools, having served in numerous roles. She's been a teacher, facilitator, assistant principal, a director, assistant superintendent of leadership and innovation, a deputy superintendent, and as we all know, she currently serves as our interim superintendent of HCISD. She was the founding principal of HCISD's Early College High School, where the mission was to afford students an opportunity to access higher education that they may not otherwise have received, to break cycles of poverty by ensuring a post-secondary path for graduates. Today, Early College High School is known as UTRGV Harlingen Collegiate High, our partnership with UTRGV. Huge success. Dr. Corton holds a doctorate in educational leadership, as well as a master's and a Bachelor of Science in Education. She has earned educator certifications in the state of Texas as a superintendent, a principal, and a classroom teacher. Since serving as our interim superintendent in the fall semester of 2024, she has shown that she is a fiscal conservative and has been instrumental in building back our fund balance from $17.2 million to now $21.2 million in unassigned reserves. After the 21-day waiting period, which is required by Texas law, this Board of Trustees will hold a meeting to consider hiring Dr. Corton as our next Harlingen CISD superintendent. Until that time, she will continue to serve as our interim superintendent. The board appreciates that our parents and our communities continue the support for this board and for Dr. Corton as we look to the future of Harlingen CISD. Thank you very much. And if there's no further business before this board,
She has to.
oh, I'm sorry, excuse me.
Well,
Thank
if you'll-
you.
if you'll
Thank
give me just
you.
a couple of minutes.
Thank you.
First
We would
of all-
love to hear from you.
Thank you,
Dr.
we'd love to hear. Sorry.
First of all, thank you for the words. I am humbled and honored to be named the lone finalist for the Superintendent of Schools for Harlingen CISD, a community that means so much to me. It's nurtured me and built me, actually, for all my life. And so it's a huge, huge honor for me. And so through the next 21 days and beyond, hopefully, I will work diligently to make sure that we strengthen the confidence and trust in our district from the community. And the history of our community is often told with the stories that are written in the hallways of our schools. And together as a community, we can come together and unite to do great things for kids. And I think about this journey, and I just want to kind of talk about a couple of things. First of all, I will continue to be guided by my heart for people and also my continued commitment to excellence. One thing I know to be true is that education changes lives. And our greatest responsibility as an educator is to make sure that we're going to set our kids up, our students up for success. When I think about this role, it's very personal to me because my dad beat all the odds that were stacked against him simply because he pursued a formal education. His life was forever changed, and I would say that that also enabled my life as well. And as a young child, I watched my mother try to make her way through, yes, raising 3 children, having a full-time job. But one thing that my parents stayed committed to is that she was going to continue her education. And so she did that yes, with 3 of us and a full-time job and everything else, but she earned her undergraduate and also her graduate degree. And so when I say that education changes lives, I have seen that firsthand. And for me, that is the greatest gift that we can give our kids and give this entire community. Having sat in the role as an interim superintendent now for the second time, I realize the potential of this position. And I realize this, that we have the potential as a superintendent of schools to change lives and to educate our kids. Kids that are just like my mom, just like my dad, just like me, and just like my very own children who are educated in this district. So as I think about this evening, I'm humbled and so honored that you all have the confidence in me. Here's the other thing too. Together as a community, we can come together and unite and do wonderful things for kids. We can completely reimagine partnerships and rethink pathways for students to succeed. And for me, that's something that is really exciting. As I think about the future of HCISD, I can't wait for the story that all of us are going to come together as a community to write. And more than anything, we're going to come together to make magic happen for kids. I am so honored. I thank the board for the confidence that you have in me. And I would be remiss if I didn't say a thank you to my family and to our entire senior team, because the reality is that we have done a lot together. And when we come together as a community, as a team, boy, does it change the trajectory of our district. So just a huge thank you.
If there's nothing further, we stand adjourned.
Thank you.